Hello and welcome, I'm your Codmaki. So do you know that game dev is really a lie? This is something that is very crucial to this profession, to making games. You gotta remember how what matters is what the player thinks is happening, not what is actually happening. So game development is really very much all about smoke and mirrors. It's all about faking all kinds of things in the background, as opposed to trying to actually simulate reality. Like I said, what matters is what the player thinks is happening and not what is actually happening. Speaking of how things work behind the scenes, I've actually been working on something super awesome that I've wanted to do for literally years. It's a really nice challenge platform to help you learn by doing. It's a great way to either escape tutorial hell if you're a beginner, or to really just boost up your skills if you're already an intermediate. I'm technically only going to publicly announce this later this week, but I've got the first testing challenge already up and running, so if you're curious, check it out with the link in the description. And if you've ever picked up any of my courses, then check your email for a really nice free coupon. That's what I wrote here, how games are all about smoke and mirrors, and how if you take a peek behind the scenes, it will look very different. This is something that is very important for beginners to know because they should know that they should not be trying to simulate reality. Your focus should always be on what exactly will the players experience. For example, if you want to have some very intense snow in your game, you can make a giant particle system that occupies the entire world. That is possible, that is technically one way to do it, technically would be valid. Very difficult to run performantly, but technically it is possible. Or alternatively, you can just put a tiny cloud that occupies the entire field of view. Here's that example, and yep, it looks quite similar when seen like this from a third-person view. But if you're inside the car, over there you really just see everything is white, everything seems like an insane snowstorm, when in reality, really the snowstorm is just happening inside your field of view. This is a very practical example of what I'm saying here. The player thinks that it's snowing all over, but if you do that, your game is going to run at like 10 FPS. But if you do it just like this, if you put the snow literally just in front of the player's field of view, the player still thinks that snow is happening all over, but in reality, it's only happening in front, so everything is much more performant. Another fun example is when doing cutscenes and you want to move the player or move objects around. Again, remember, all that matters is the player's point of view. It does not matter what is actually happening. So sometimes it might actually be better to move the world as opposed to moving the player. That's this example right here. So it's a nice cutscene, and over there from the player's point of view, it looks like it's actually moving. It looks like it's actually moving in the world. But over there on the right side, we can see what is actually happening. Really, the balloon is staying stable, and really, it's the whole world that is actually moving behind it. Depending on what game you're making and how it's set up, it might very well be much easier to just move the world itself as opposed to moving the player. Or here's a really fun one. So what if you want to do skateboarding down an endless road? Maybe you can do that. Maybe you can literally generate an endless road. It won't be an insane amount of work, but technically it is doable. Or alternatively, maybe it's really just a donut spinning. So you have here in this case, there it is, the character just skating down. And it's basically an endless thing. It will never end because in reality, it's actually not a finite road. It is actually really just a donut that is constantly rotating around itself. What about going down a tunnel? Again, maybe it is an actual tunnel that actually has an insane amount of length, or really, it's maybe just a scrolling texture on a weird shape. This one right here, this one is a very common trick that is used in many games that use any kind of like portals or hyperspace travel and so on. Especially if you're making some kind of sci-fi game, you really don't want to model things on literally an astronomical scale. If something is 1 light year away, you don't want to actually make a map that is 1 light year away. So just like this, keep the camera on a fixed position and really just have a weird shape just rotating around, and just have a scrolling texture that is constantly moving. So over here, nothing is moving, the player's not moving, the shape is not moving. It is really just some clever manipulation and a scrolling texture and makes it feel like everything is moving. Again, the key point is the only thing that matters is what the player feels that is happening. Or how about waves in the sea in Wind Waker? You could model an entire wave-based system, make a very complex ocean water system, do that to have some very realistic waves, or you can really just have some triangles. So you have this one here, this one is quite fun. These older games where the hardware was quite a bit more limited, these have quite a lot of these really fun tricks. And this one, it is literally just triangles, just going up and going down, that's it. So if you get close enough, the illusion is basically destroyed. But if you are far away, as the player usually is, then really generally looks like nice and waves. Except instead of having an insane amount of triangles to make an actual mesh wave, it is really just, let's say, about 4 or 5 polygons. That's it, and really just looks basically the same. Or like I said, when doing a cutscene, basically anything not in view of the camera doesn't really matter. Here's a game that has a really cool cutscene, but over there we can see on the background, everything looks quite a bit more different. The cutscene looks quite nice, all based on where the camera is placed and how the road is actually moving. But over there, yep, the player's buzz, that one is just staying always on the same place. It's really just a camera moving around different places, and by doing that, it looks quite a bit special. And then of course you've got the classics like the Fallout 3 train hat. It's a really classic one, it's really funny. It's how the train in Fallout 3 was technically not an actual train. It was actually just a hat on top of an NPC, and the NPC was just running really fast, so it makes absolutely no sense in anything based on reality. But again, from the player's point of view, it really seemed like they were inside a train actually moving around, so from the player's point of view, this trick worked perfect. So basically, whenever you're working on your games, remember how all that matters is what the player sees, what they experience, which might be completely different from what is actually happening. Computers are very advanced nowadays, but they still have limitations. It's really up to you as a developer to be clever with those limitations to bring your vision to life. There's a lot of times that I see comments, people talking about how their game is not performant or is having performance issues, and usually this is exactly the case. It is because they're trying to basically simulate everything 100% of the time, when in reality they should be focusing on only simulating the bare minimum that is required for the player to believe that something is actually happening, when in reality it's actually not. Personally, I love clever tricks like these. For example, my first game, Survivor Squad, is actually a 2D game, but back then Unity did not have 2D tools, so the whole thing is using flat 3D meshes and 3D physics that look 2D to the player. Here's the development timeline video that I did on my game all those years ago. And yep, again, back then Unity did not have any 2D tools. So over here we can see, yep, the whole thing, that one is a 3D cube, the player mesh is really just a sprite, or rather it's just a flat mesh that is right on top. Then over here for doors, those are all 3D physics, 3D objects. But over there on the game view, yep, it looks like a flat 2D sprite from top. Because again, the only thing that matters is really just what the player sees. And if the player sees something in 2D, it doesn't really matter if behind it the whole thing is 3D, the whole thing is just clever tricks. All that matters is what the player sees. So yep, always keep this in mind, how game dev is really a lie. Your goal is to create all sorts of smokes and mirrors to make the player believe something is happening, but in reality, in order to actually make it work, it is actually not happening. Speaking of how things work behind the scenes, I've actually been working on something super awesome that I've wanted to do for literally years. So if you're curious, check it out with the link in the description. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.